I need to get one of those like vlogging holder things. Still a little cattywampus, and it says there's a face behind me, but we're gonna keep going. So yeah, today we are cooking, and there's something to be said first. We're not making anything really from scratch for dinner. Right now I am chopping up this chuck roast because I buy this chuck roast, it's $14, and I use the meat several different ways. This week I plan on putting it in the crock pot as a roast. I plan on using bits of it in essentially like a Philly cheesesteak type thing. But tonight what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting it really thin like this, salt, pepper, put it on the inside griddle, and what we're really making is revved up ramen. So the other day I went to the grocery store and I had this amazing idea, and it was written down on my menu planning that I was going to make a pho or faux. However, the grocery stores are kind of going crazy again. Things are limited, and so I picked up this, which is just ramen, and it's a family pack. Never really used it before, not very fancy, whatever. But the fun thing is, with a little bit of like a meat garnish and then from things from my garden, I get to not only personalize this and make it feel just a little bit more homemade, but like I said, revving up this ramen. And the second thing that we're gonna do is, while I'm outside, while I'm gathering things from my garden to add to this ramen, I'm also going to be taking out the cabbage as well as a couple of other things from one of my raised beds, and I'm finally going to be making sauerkraut. Now this is technically part 1 of sauerkraut because I won't be able to taste it until 2 weeks from now. So let's get started. Now nobody judge me, but this griddle is dirty. I actually cook on it every morning for breakfast, and it actually still has some bacon grease on it from this morning, and I would normally clean it off if I was going to be making something like tortillas or something for dinner, but I'm going to leave it as it is because I think that bacon fat, that grease, will actually make the steak bits or beef bits taste a little bit better. So I'm going to go add them on. And I'm just going to let those cook for a little bit. I'm going to put up the knives, and I'm going to grab a basket, and we're going to go outside and start picking things from the garden. So I am not very good at keeping up with my harvest baskets. Luckily for me though, the girls' room had a basket holding onto the toys. So I'm just going to take that, and I'm not going to be slow at all. I'm just going to run outside, grab some stuff, and come right back in. Ugh. Isn't that so dope? Alright. Ugh. The eyes. So the first thing I'm going to grab are a couple of herbs, and I'm thinking about it, and I definitely want to do some kind of basil. Even though it's not an herb, I want to grab some tatsoi because I think that would be really good to add into the ramen. Ooh, and lemongrass. Get some of this basil. Now one of these is lemon and the other one's lime. I'm going to guess that this one might be the lime. And look at that guy. I could have grabbed you, man. Go home. I gotta hurry. Now, with this, I'm just gonna pick the surrounding leaves. It doesn't have to be a crazy amount. And honestly, the plant would probably be happier if I were to use scissors, but we're not on that game tonight. Got a little bit of those. I'm gonna grab some fresh lemon cukes. Look at those. Great. Great. And I need a spicy pepper. For me, not the girls. I'm gonna take this black Hungarian pepper right here. So, looks good. Oh shoot, I forgot the lemongrass. Okay, just a couple of these, because those go a long way. Okay, got my basket. Whew, I'm in a rush, so I gotta get back to the house because I don't want to leave the stove on or the griddle on for too long without me. I'm back inside. I'm gonna go flip my beef strips, and then I'm gonna get all of my stuff cleaned off and then get it chopped up. Hey there. I am seeing that they have these little dried veggie packs. I am going to add these to it, but I also saw that this said it was gourmet spicy. I love everything spicy, but my girls don't, so I might only add half of this and then compensate with my own spice cabinet. I only ended up using about half of the seasoning packets and the vegetable packets because the vegetable packets had like dried chilies in them. I know me and the oldest will appreciate spice, but I don't think the youngest will, so hopefully it's not too spicy. I could probably combat that with a more neutral thing, or I could probably just rinse off her noodles and serve them buttered, and she would appreciate that. So not a bad thing. It looks pretty good for such a simple, cheap meal. I mean, like, who doesn't love ramen of some kind, you know? So as I'm packaging my meat, my beef, I want to add that I normally would put like a boiled egg, a soft boiled egg into ramen, along with like a bunch of other stuff like star anise and coriander powder and all that stuff. But this is already pretty seasoned. I mean, it comes with seasoning packs. And as far as the egg goes, today I made deviled egg potato salad, and so my day of boiling and peeling egg is over. Excuse the fact that I actually have dishes in my sink, but this water has been salted and added vinegar has been put into it. And that's just my cleaning cocktail for making sure that everything gets nice and rinsed off, no bugs are hiding in my food, things like that. And I'm just gonna dump everything. Right now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take my beef off. It's fully cooked, it's nice and dried out and thick. And I know in the world of beef, dry and crunchy might not seem appetizing or like how you want it to be. But in the world of ramen, having drier beef makes it stand up to the broth and the heat of the broth and stuff just a little bit better. Now what I'm doing is I'm making sure that all of these plants are fully submerged, and I'm just giving them a nice rinse. And anything like this that is just less than perfect for me, something that maybe I don't want to eat, that's cool. I'm gonna put it right back in the basket. I am going through this produce in my sink, the stems, the less than useful parts. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just put those back in the basket, and I'm gonna turn scraps into bacon. Okay, and here we have the produce from the garden for the ramen, and then we have the cabbage from my garden for the sauerkraut. Turns out the noodles, even having not put in all of the spice packets and stuff, were way too spicy for the little one. And so I've got another hot pot of water going. I'm gonna put some plain spaghetti noodles in there, and like I said, butter them. But me and the big girl, we're excited to have our ramen. I normally have a lot of broth of my ramen, but it is pretty spicy, and so I cut back on that. So I'm basically having revved up ramen just noodles. So let me get this chopped up and ready. Okay, and now the last step is just to kind of mix it all together. Put some tatsoi in, a little bit of fresh cucumber, a little bit more because I'm obsessed, and then some beef. And oop, gotta move this stuff out of the way. Get some of that nice basil in there. Some of that nice basil. And then I'm just gonna eat it kind of like this with a salad on top and stuff like that. It's gonna be good. The tatsoi is gonna go down. Very nice. I'm also gonna take this time to zhuzh up my baby's buttered noodles. So a little bit of butter in there, some of the beef, and some of the greens. Oh, you know what this needs? This right here is our goat's milk cheese that I make. And I'm pretty sure that this plus this is going to be good. Looks pretty good so far. I am uncomfortably full right now. Guys, I promise I'm gonna get my equipment thing handled because I really want to put out quality videos that are not only entertaining to watch because of what I'm doing, but they're well set up. And so I'm gonna be really working to improve that because I really do enjoy vlogging. And this is something I want to continue doing. So that I will get that rectified. But moving on. Ramen was delicious. Ready?
Hello. Hello.
All right. So my helper, big girl, and I, we're going to be making something called sauerkraut. And
Sauerkraut is yummy.
yeah. So here's the thing. This is the book that I'm following. This is Farmhouse Culture Guide to Fermenting, and it is by Catherine Lucas and Shane Peterson. I got this off of Amazon. And whenever I was starting out my gardening year this year, I knew that I wanted to tackle fermenting. I was really interested in it, and I just wanted to learn as much as I could. And everyone I have spoken to says, start with sauerkraut. It's the most basic thing to ferment. But maybe after I get a little bit more experience, I'll be able to talk deeper about this. Now this book, I do recommend the first good bit of it is just explaining how good fermenting is for you and what it's like and this person's journey on finding things like this. And they refer to themselves as kind of like this pioneer. Their family's been doing it for forever. I could go on, but we also have some artwork today. Look how...
Do you like my picture, friends?
Yeah, friends. Do you like our picture? What is this? What is that part?
That's my Sparky.
Okay.
Get it.
I am going to stop talking about this book, though. I did want you to know about it so that if you were interested in fermenting, you could also pick something like this up. But also, I wanted to tell you where I was sourcing this information from. So in this book, it also will walk you through essentially like a supplies list of things that you need. And I'm doing my best. I'm not doing verbatim what it says in the book. Just quite frankly, I don't really have the startup cash to like invest in these things, but I do have some things already, and so I'm gonna use what I have. This is an amber glass jar, and the reason I chose this one is because it keeps out UV rays, UV light, and that's supposed to be really good for the fermenting process, which I'm not even going to pretend to teach right now because I am being a student. Amber jar usually comes with a metal lid, but because I'm going to be doing something called burping this, I wanted to use a reusable non-metal lid, and this is a plastic lid. I got it at Walmart, and so that's what I'm going to do. Essentially what I do, I'm going to explain first what I'm doing and then just kind of 90s montage it. So what I do based on the book is I'm going to take my cabbage, which I know this is not going to be near enough cabbage. I'm going to take my cabbage and supplement it with some cabbage from the grocery store. After I finally chop it, I'm going to salt it, or weigh it, and then salt it. I'm going to let the shredded cabbage sit in the salt for about 5 or 10 minutes. I'll probably end up going outside to do my evening chores. And when I get back, I'm going to start fitting the cabbage into my jar a little at a time, pushing it down in there, making sure that it sits below the brine line. And I'm going to withhold a couple of my cabbage leaves to kind of like turn them over and act like little weights on top of it. I know. I'm also, oh shoot, I forgot to mention that in my cabbage slaw thing that I'm going to be doing, I'm also going to be grating some ginger. So a little kitchen hack for me to use, something that I've been doing for years. I use fresh ginger pretty regularly, but sometimes it spoils on me before I can get to use it. So I keep mine in the freezer because it's easy for me to whip out and grate. Ooh, yeah, mystery magic, mystery magic. So that's what we're gonna do, right? That's our plan. Are you gonna help me? Mm-hmm. Great, so let's get started.
That's a big old cabbage.
Yeah. There, just a pinch. That is a lot of ginger. But I don't like ginger, so that's okay. Okay, great. And then just take about half of it on top. There we go. The time has come, my little friends, to talk of other things. Of cabbages and kings. Yuck. That's from Alice in Wonderland. I'm not just a total weirdo, by the way. So, I think that I'm actually ready. The book says that you know that it's been done sufficiently if whenever you go to grab it, if it drips a little bit. And so that's been my test. Whenever I came in from doing chores, it was not there. And I kind of attribute that maybe to the fact that my house is kept pretty cool, and so maybe it needed just a little bit extra time. And so I busied myself by cleaning up a little bit, and now I am back. And let's do the squeeze test. It's dripping! Alright, we're ready. Oh no, this is terrible. The book does mention in several places that having a funnel, a big jar funnel, would be most helpful here, but I'm just gonna wing it. So I'm pushing it down. I don't know if you can even see through the jar, but right now it's about right here, and I'm just pushing it down. Get my lid. Dun dun dun. So I'm going to tighten this, but not like gorilla tight, just enough for I can undo it later. Because like I said, as this really starts to come alive and things really start cooking in there, it's going to release all of this gas and all of this pressure. And every day I just got to go, hold on, there we go. That's it. And so every day all I have to do is go, and just that one movement right there will be enough to burp the can or the jar. Be enough to burp it and let all those gases out without having to open the lid and let all of, you know, these other dust particles and nonsense go in there. So, we did it. This is my first ever sauerkraut. I won't know how it's coming along for another 2 weeks, because even though I get to burp it every day, like I said, I don't get to open it up, and so I don't get to taste it every day. 2 weeks might seem like a long time, but guys, now's a perfect time to subscribe, not only to see what this looks like in 2 weeks, but also just to follow along as I learn to do stuff like this. Now, Homestead to Health is me on a journey to bettering my health via homesteading, and I'm still learning everything. Not only am I learning basically how to take care of my body like an adult, but I'm also learning how to garden, I'm learning seed starting, I'm learning animal husbandry. This whole channel is really my journey of learning, and there's so much more for me to learn. Not only is this my first ferment of hopefully many, but there's lots of other things that I'm going to be preparing in the future. A lot more cook with me videos, gardening related videos, and things like that. So thank y'all for coming along with me today. Thank you for having a really simple dinner with me. I know that ramen isn't probably what you think or what comes to mind whenever you think of a homemade homesteading dinner, but it just goes to show that gardening on any scale is for anyone. But also thank you for watching me create my own ferment. I really hope that this works out. I love sauerkraut, but thank you so much for hanging out with me today, guys. I'll see y'all later.